24 countries, over $1 million prize pool, limited practice time, and mixed rosters. The Esports Nations Cup is by far CJ's strangest tournament yet, and somehow we're supposed to figure out who survives it all. France, Brazil, maybe the US, and maybe the Great Britain. So after eliminating the teams with the lowest chances, Turkey immediately stands out. 3 players came straight from Turk's LFO, giving the team existing communication, rules, and chemistry. Then you add Solotov on top of that, Turkey's best player and one of the world's best top stars, and the ceiling immediately jumps. He also brings familiarity with the coach Julio, Team Falcons coach and the former 6 Invitational champion with an IP. So suddenly Turkey has chemistry, star power, coaching, and experience. So why aren't they the absolute favorites to win this tournament? So after you look past Solotov, the experience drops, and they have mostly qualifier experiences without breakthroughs. Next up, we got Sweden. Sweden is one of the most top-heavy rosters in this tournament. Just look at Spoit and Noah, 2 of Europe's most mechanically gifted players. Seeing them, you immediately think contender. And that's fair. Spoit has spent years proving himself at the highest level. Noah has rapidly become one of Europe's most dangerous young stars. Then you check the rest of the roster. Questions appear. Teriko, once a teammate of Spoit on Godsend, has mostly Nordic League experiences, and the other have limited high-level exposure. Sweden's problem is simple. They don't just need Spoit and Noah to play well. They need them to play unreal every single match. Germany is one of the hardest teams to evaluate. Half of the roster feels like a history lesson. Hungry, Kryan, and Corey, names veterans immediately recognize. The problem? Experience doesn't always equal current form. Jum carries huge expectations after his success with Team Secret and crazy individual stats in recent years. Sua brings championship coaching level from Penta and G2's golden days, and Kryan adds his major winning experience with Rogue. But there are a mix of challenges. Some retired players return, some never really reach tier 1, and others are still trying. Next up, we got my favorite team in this entire tournament, besides France, Brazil, and the other big stars, Poland. Poland isn't just flashy, but that might be exactly what makes them dangerous. Adrian brings recent championship experience with Team Secret, Saves offers veteran leadership from Navi's legendary era, Grubby adds chemistry from his time with Adrian on Team Secret, and Noodle brings flexibility to adapt on the fly. Unlike Sweden, they aren't relying on 2 players to carry the entire team, and unlike Germany, they don't fully rely on retired players. One team that just missed the list is Saudi Arabia. Some of their players have been competing against top European opposition under the banner of Twisted Minds in the Europe MENA League, and they've continued to prove that MENA region is no joke. At the Salt Lake City Major, they shocked the world, finished second in the group stage behind FaZe Clan, and even defeated G2 Esports in a best of 3 and went on to finish in the top 4 of the tournament. This roster also benefits from having a strong pre-existing chemistry. They're not among the main favorites to win the event, but if Saudi Arabia starts making a deep run, don't be surprised. So after eliminating dozens of teams, we finally arrived to the real challenge, the Great Britain. On paper, Great Britain is a team full of experienced veterans with international trophies and years of top-level experience, and their biggest advantage is existing chemistry. Citizen and Nafe already know how each other play after spending time together on Dark Zero and later Team Secret. Doki and Citizen also go way back to their golden Navi days and the post-destructed G2 Esports, meaning they already know how each other play, move, and take fights. And behind them, the UK has a very stable backbone. Nafe acts as the glue of the team, supporting the entries and keeping everything organized. Wizard stays behind to hold important positions and let the rest of the team move around safely. And then you add Uses, probably the most flexible player on the roster. He can help Doki on entry, play flex roles, or completely change jobs depending on what the team needs. And statistically, this team can clutch. Uses finished top 4 in clutches during 2025 with 18, and Doki finished right behind him at number 5 with 17. One thing that changed since I recorded this video is that now Citizen has moved to Fnatic, where Wizard is already playing. It means now Citizen has been teammates with every member of the Team UK roster except Uses. The biggest challenge for UK might actually be the coach, Kangaroo Kenny, because his job isn't teaching them how to shoot. His job is making sure 5-star players actually play like one team. The United States. The US is approaching this tournament with a completely different philosophy. They aren't bringing finished, automated systems to Rios. They are trying to build one from scratch before the clock runs out. The US threw together a strange puzzle of raw talent, bringing 7 explosive players and a massive 3-man coaching staff to manage the chaos. Immediate spearhead of the American attack relies on the M80 connection, Gunnar and Gavin. Gunnar enters this tournament as one of the most feared entry threats of 2026, currently ranked number 1. Right behind him is Gavin, a multi-time major champion whose sole job is to cover Gunnar's aggressive pushing, trade instantly, and secure map control. The sheer mechanical depth of this roster is ridiculous. They plugged in Stumpen, an aggressive player who led international circuit in total kills in his first professional year, alongside Ambi, who is actively topping the 2026 leaderboard in pure KD and total frags. To balance out this hyper-aggressive, front-heavy firepower, the US added False to the roster. False is there to anchor the backline. The recent Celtic champ and the 2026 Invitational champion, False brings massive veteran composure to post-plant scenarios, standing out as a premier objective player with a massive stat line of 69 total diffuser plants in 2025. Then you add NJR, False teammate in Dark Zero, recently won the Salt Lake Major and previously the Charlotte Major in 2022, again with Dark Zero. NJR also brings a high level of firepower and chemistry with his teammate False. And lastly, Bay94, probably the least experienced name on the USA list and an entry fragger for wildcard. The real story of USA, however, aren't the players, it's the coaching. USA are the only country in this tournament that have a 3-man coaching staff. Fabian and Super thrive on deep strategic preparation. If the coaching staff can successfully pull all this together, they might actually have a huge chance of winning this tournament. France is arguably the most structurally stable super team in the entire tournament. Instead of throwing random gunners together, the French simply resembled a proven, world-class professional engine. The core of this team relies on the legendary golden trio of Shaiko, Likefak, and Lidé, having played dozens of matches together under Team BDS and later Team Falcon's banners. Their communication, default spacing, and tournament trust are already completely baked into their muscle memory. Likefak takes the reins as the definitive in-game leader, using his elite entry stats to top frag while commanding the game. Meanwhile, Ride plays his comfort role as the premier main support anchor, locking down side plants and securing crucial clutches to free up the rest of the map. He even got the most plants down in 2025 and 2026 so far, and currently has the 3rd most number of clutches in 2026. But the real tactical master stroke of this roster is how they integrated Mowgli. Fresh off an entry masterclass where his unstoppable aggression completely steamrolled international competition, Mowgli may act as the primary entry. By letting Mowgli fly out of the gate to create immediate space, it takes the absolute maximum amount of pressure off Shaiko. When Shaiko is allowed to play secondary refrag role with zero stress on his shoulders, he becomes the statistical god. We're talking about a mechanical powerhouse who led the entire global circuit with over 900 kills and the #1 entry rating in 2025. Blaz slots in as the perfect flexible buffer, filling any utility gaps on flank watch or secondary hard breach. To round out the roster, they also have Skies from VP and Baby Shark from Wildcard who can jump in to help the team if anything goes wrong. Orchestrating it all from the bench, they got a Stuflex. Stuflex has worked with Shaiko, Likefak, and Bride for a long time. Stuflex, being the coach for Team France, elevates their chemistry and ceiling even higher. Then we got the final boss. Brazil enters this tournament as the undisputed global #1 seed. Brazil simply imported a living, breathing empire. Brazil's ultimate competitive advantage isn't just talent, it's active championship chemistry. The core trio of this roster, King, Handy, and Cyber, aren't just old friends. They are the reigning rulers of Global Siege, having won back-to-back 6 invitationals in 2025 and 2026. They already have a flawless default system, and they already know exactly how to win a grand final. Every single player in this core functions perfectly within the game. King commands the team as one of the most composed, tactically rigid IGLs in the modern era, meaning Brazil has a definitive general from round 1. Cyber acts as the primary sledgehammer, playing as a hyper-aggressive entry player whose entire job is to take map control, win opening duels, and create absolute chaos. Cyber dropped 919 kills in 2025, more than anybody has ever done in a single year. While Cyber hunts, Handy plays the ultimate silent guardian, handling the dirty work of flank watch, vertical utility, and clutching out late round. He maintains a top 3 global KD in 2025. Brazil just didn't bring 3 back-to-back world champions. They decided to be even more cruel and add 2 more world champions on top of that. KZ and JV92, 2024 SA champs and multi-time major winners who take the scoring pressure entirely off the front line. JV92 was ranked #2 on KD in 2025, further increasing the firepower of Team Brazil. They're also bringing the most statistically dominant player of South America's history, Paulo, who can play freely as a flexible roamer with a massive record of 15 clutches in 2026 so far, and number 4 on KD in 2025. They also got Laura on the backline, the former G2 player currently playing for Furia. Even though he is statistically great, just like Paulo, he also lacks the trophies to match the stats. Just in 2025, he was ranked number 4 on entry and number 6 on KD. To completely lock down their system, their coaching staff features Rafa de la FaZe and Igor CTG from Team Liquid. This means the coaches initially understand the habits of FaZe and the old W7M core. After looking through the rosters, we have narrowed it down to 4 teams, 4 real contenders, but each got their own problems. Starting with the US. Mechanically, this team can destroy anybody. The firepower is crazy, but there might be too much of it. This roster pulls players from completely different systems, different organizations, different leadership structures, and different playstyle. In a tournament with limited practice time, that matters. But then we got Great Britain. They have almost the opposite problem of the US. Their chemistry is better, their experience might be slightly better as well, and they have players who have won at the highest levels. But compared to France and Brazil, the UK simply lacks the same amount of proven championship firepower. The roster doesn't have many players that consistently dominate international services statistically. They have enough experience to upset anyone, but winning the entire tournament might be too much for them. Brazil is the safest prediction on paper. Their FaZe core already solved the hardest part of national tournaments, chemistry. Viddy King, Candy, and Cyber from FaZe Clan, and KZ and JV92 from Team Liquid. Their coaching staff already knows how to function under pressure. They're literally world champions from 2024 until 2026. But Brazil has one major problem, role compression. When you put players like Cyber, KZ, and Paulo together, somebody inevitably sacrifices resources, space, or playstyle. Super teams don't always mess up because they don't have talent. Sometimes it may happen because they have too much of it. And this is why I slightly lean towards France. France has chemistry through the BDS core, they have established leadership through Liquefact, they have a dedicated world-class support player in Bride, and they have defined the entry role between Mowgli and Shaiko. Most importantly, almost every player on this roster fits naturally in the role that they're comfortable playing. Brazil might have the strongest individual roster, but France feels like the squad that requires the fewest adjustments. And in short tournaments where preparation time is limited, usually the team with the fewer problems wins. That's why I think France takes it.